This is awesome. So he was surprised when we were talking about the Psalms the other day, and I referenced Psalmic Magic, and that the Psalms are have magical attributes. So I sent you all a little video about how to calculate your personal Psalms. And that was my personal method. It was published in the red folder from, I think last year's Hoodoo Heritage Festival. And you can get that also at Lucky Mojo. And it's great. I think the red folder is better than the black folder, but I don't want to say too much. Although I love them both, really. So, and they're right in front of me. So I calculated the people's personal. Well, does anybody have questions about the Psalms themselves, or do we? There's a great page on the AIR website on Psalmic Magic. Okay, about that really explains the nature, of Psalmic Magic. But does anybody, any questions there? Nope. Okay, good. All right. Well, for Hoodoo uses a lot of Psalmic Magic. Last year when I was there, I taught my personal method, and I sent it out to everyone here, and it was really a much more simplistic method than I had seen published previously, but I thought it was an easier method because the previous method that I had seen has come from this book. Okay, is everything backwards? How do we? Is that backwards?
Correct.
Okay.
It's not backwards.
It's not backwards. Okay, Shemush Tehillim. It looked backwards to me. Okay, and in the back of that book, this is a book from the medieval times. In the back of that book, they talk about the importance of calculating your personal Psalms, and it gives a formula for doing that. But the formula is very complicated, and you have to convert everything into the Jewish calendar, which is also really complicated. So, for me, I decided that I was going to go through the book and try to do what I thought to be was a pretty good calculation that's seemingly accurate and very helpful. This book, just to stop and give a little history, Miss Cat knows and was picked up many years later by this person, right, Miss Cat? And then this has become a Hoodoo classic, and this book is a Hoodoo classic, and then also Anna Rivas based her book, I think, Powers of the Psalms, also on this book. But and this book has been reprinted a million times. It comes like this, it comes like that, it comes like this. I mean, you can see it all over the place. But for me, the book to get really is what those books were based on, which is this book.
Can I just jump in for a second too? There's another book called Sacred Secrets of the Psalms by Mikhail Strabo.
Oh, yeah.
And that is also based, they're all based on the original, that basically. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. And the way that they entered Hoodoo was through a publisher called Wayman Brothers. And they were publishing a combination of folkloric magic books, just all types of little pocket books. And they happened to pick up this book Gottfried Selig wrote in German, and they were in the business of translating Yiddish and Hebrew texts into English, and they did not work from the original Hebrew version. They worked from the German translation of Gottfried Selig. So there's your background.
Right, and there were several mistranslations, and and Gottfried Selig I believe even miswrote the Luria's name. Yes, isn't that correct?
No, actually, no. Gottfried Selig wrote it, right? And it's in the original Spitalnik Brothers Empire Publishing pickup from the Wayman Brothers. No, it was when Mark Ben Ezra or either him or Maury Trugman, somebody had it OCR'd back in the early days of OCR, and they OCR'd it and then reprinted it in Helvetica text. If it's in Helvetica font, it'll have all those errors. And it's because, OCRs will see like RN and they'll see it as an M, and, different things like that. And nobody ever corrected it. And so the more recent prints have those errors, but they were not introduced by the Wayman brothers or by any of the earlier people. They all had regular typesetters. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go on.
No, I wanted. That's fabulous. That's exactly. I'm fascinated by that stuff. That's the stuff I'd love to comment on. So, does anybody want me to? I figured I would read what is in this book, because about the importance of calculating your personal psalms. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, and I've already talked to you about personal psalm, how to calculate it, and we've already been here, but for about an hour. So, would you guys like to know why it's important to know your personal psalms?
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay. So, according to the tradition, each day has its daily psalms. In Kabbalah, it's possible to determine the daily psalm of a person and a range of psalms applicable to the day of birth. Now, this is going to be important for your hoodoo work. Usually a person will see himself reflected in his own psalms, since they tightly refer to his personal tikkun. Now, tikkun is a Jewish Kabbalistic concept of repair, repairing the soul, repairing yourself, making amends. And tikkun olam is a universal responsibility of ethics and morals that we all share in order to heal the universe. And so that's what they're referring to here. So I'll read it again. Usually a person will see himself reflected in his own psalms, since they tightly refer to his personal tikkun. So their need for correction. Among these, you will also find one which he feels the most comfortable, which he sees himself. And this certainly is his specific psalm. In Kabbalah, books of prayer, are personalized. So in the Jewish tradition, people bring their own prayer book to the synagogue with which to pray. And so they're saying, those prayer books are always personalized. And it says, and the personal psalms are inserted where appropriate. This unlocks the gate of heaven for that person, since he has in his hands the exact vibrations that match his soul. So in order to successfully perform unifications and spiritual exercises, two factors are essential: an objective factor and a subjective factor. Okay? So while the former is taken into account by all, the latter remains often hidden. And this often results in failure to attain proper closeness to God, like a parrot. But God wants our heart sincere and pure. And thus, if we want to vibrate our prayers up to heaven, we must pray we must put something in the prayer of us, which will protect us directly inside it. And so this is why we need to know our personal psalms. This function is well fulfilled by our personal psalms. Our psalms can be used in a variety of occasions. For this example, when we want to help a sick person, we can find in Shemush Tehillim, the psalm for healing illness, we recite it together with our personal psalms so that it has something of us reflected in the vibration to, I want to say, the ears of God, but we know what we're talking about. God doesn't have actually, ears. Maybe, well, as far as I know, maybe he does. I don't know. But this will make a vehicle, okay? So when you put these two things together, the psalm that you want, that you're using for healing, and your personal psalm, it says, this will make a vehicle, a merkava, a chariot, that channels the holy energies through us to the needy person. Psalms help us focus our kavanah, our intention, and directing it. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about kavanah in the bibliomancy lecture. So kavanah is focused intention that is used for effective prayer. So Psalms help us in focusing our kavanah, our intention, and directing it in order to call the hand of God to perform miracles. So that's why I gave everyone the gift of calculating their personal psalms. I hope they enjoy it, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, Jeremy, we've got a few people posting their psalms, their personal psalms in the chat. Could you go through a few of them and just tell them that meaning that's behind that?
Oh, sure. Let's see.
So I'll just tell you a few and then we can kind of go from there. So the first one is, let's say, Alyssa M. She says hers is 105. Same with Doc Murphy. They're both 105. So we'll get 2 here.
2 for 1. I always like that. Okay. Uh-oh, my kids are now taking a shower, so if you hear very loud rumbling, I apologize on the sound. But I have teenagers, and they are dirty, and I have to say I'm thankful that they're showering. So you can't have it both ways. Okay, so Psalms 105. Now this is in Shemush Tehillim, and this is it. There we go. All right, and it's laid out very very similarly, like, okay, and then it also gives you the Psalms in both Hebrew and English. So Psalms 105, it says the first of it goes from 105 to 107, but they're saying the first of these Psalms, so 105, is associated with the holy name Yah. Now that's one of the 72 names of God, Yahweh, and in the before even pre-Judaism, Yahweh, there were lots of different gods and all that kind of thing. So they're associating this psalm with this particular sound, and sound is very important in Jewish magic. You have to remember that the act of creating the universe was an act of sound. It says, and God said, let there be, light, and there was light. So it's an act of sound, and sound is very, very important. So write this, again, these Psalms are associated with the holy name of Yah as ascribed and according to their original writings. It is said that the 105th Psalm will cure, oh, this is one of my favorites, 3 days fever. Praying of the 106th Psalm will cure 4 days fever. And finally, praying of the 107th Psalm will cure the daily fever. And I've actually put that in my book. I called it, I love to use the word, I called it the quotidian fever. So, all right, who's next?
All right, so we're just gonna pick some at random here. So we're gonna do Diana W, Psalms 97.
Psalms 97, according to Shemush Tehillim. Okay. Oh, all right. 96 and 97, the holy name of these two Psalms is, what do you know? Yah. And the letter, they're not always that. Just happens to be. And the letters of the first, 96, are found in the words Yeshuato, verse 2, and Habu, verse 7. And those of the other words, Jishmehu, verse 1, and Ata, verse 9. Whoever prays these two Psalms 3 times daily will cause his family great joy and contentment. So that's a nice psalm to have. Great joy. You've got an easy access to great joy and contentment. Healing your tikkun, like if you have a bad feeling or bad, need some repair, then this is a great psalm, 96.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next one. That would be, let's do Ingrid Harrison, 79.
Hi, Ingrid.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Real good.
Wow. This is one I might like to have, actually, Ingrid. Where are you? You got to speak so I can.
Here. I'm here.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure the root workers here know what Psalm 79 is for. Frequent prayer of the 79th Psalm is said to be fatal to enemies and opponents.
Yeah.
That's power.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Sylvia Elizabeth, 89.
89. Okay. Oh, wow. Should one of your own family or dear friends waste away so rapidly in consequence of a severe illness so that they are already nearly helpless and useless, speak this psalm over olive oil and pour the oil over the wool that has been shorn from a wether or ram, and with it anoint the body of the patient, and he will speedily recover. If your friend is under arrest, oh, this is good for right now, and you desire his liberation, yes!
Yeah.
Go into an open field and raise your eyes towards heaven. Repeat this psalm with a prayer suited to the circumstances, which should be uttered in full confidence with God.
Okay, do you think we've got a time for a few more?
Yeah, we want to do one or two more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
I mean, people can take off. It's okay. I won't be offended. Everybody knows that, Sunday school's no fun.
We've got Talisa, Psalm 82.
I think hold on, that's the wrong number because I need to add 19 to that.
Oh, is it wrong? Okay.
82 and 19. Don't tell anybody I'm an educator.
82 plus 19.
So I'm 101. Because I was confused about Psalm 82. I was like, what the hell? It's 101.
You are awesome. You so lucky.
I need to
Whoever bears this psalm in addition to the 68th upon his person. So whoever wears this on his person, okay, written upon parchment, is secure from the persecution of evil spirits and vindictive persons.
You
So
better say that again.
This is a formula for an amulet.
Yep.
Okay, this is an amulet. This is whoever bears the psalm, the 101st psalm, in addition to the 68th psalm, upon his person. Okay, written upon parchment. So all you have to do is write it down, the 101st and the 68th, and then if you write it down on parchment and secure it to yourself, then you are secure from the persecution of evil spirits, and from evil spirits and vindictive persons.
See?
That's
And
good.
could you
I
hold up
told
that
them-
book so that people could see what it is?
You
If
should
someone put it in the chat.
absolutely.
Someone put the name in the chat.
Like this? Is that
So,
right?
so basically, Jeremy, what you just said is like my psalm, my personal psalm is actually my personal phrase that I use at work all the time. Don't come for me unless I call for you.
Oh,
Don't come for me.
I
That's
like
crazy.
it. Mhm.
Okay,
it
so we've
also-
got.
It also gives you a way to make an amulet. I'm going to give you just a little suggestion jumping here. It says if you bear this psalm on your person along with Psalm 68, that you will be free from all persecution. Take and make a reduced photocopy, make it very small, just only so it barely, you'd have to be able to read it with a magnifying glass on one side of the paper, that first psalm, the second psalm on the other side of the paper. Go to any one of these places that sells beautiful sterling silver jewelry, but cheap, like overstock.com, and buy yourself a locket. And it can be any kind of a locket, a heart, a disc, a square. It doesn't have to be anything that indicates religion in any way. Put that paper in there. Anoint the edge of that paper with holy oil. Just run your fingers around it to make the edge holy oil. Fold it up, put it in the locket. There you go. You are now wearing those psalms on your person as recommended in that ancient book.
It's a protection book. Yeah, it's a great amulet.
Honestly, that made me feel so much better. Because you just know the people I work with. Whew.
I can't hear. Who is that?
I said, you just don't know the people I work with, so I needed that.
Good, good. You got it.
Okay, let's do Janie, who wants her personal psalm is 94.
94? Okay. This is very hoodoo. Okay, this is judo. Okay. Seriously, I'm not joking. This is where those two get merged, start to get really, if you'll see similarities, right? Okay. If you have a hard, unyielding, and bitter enemy who oppresses you sorely and causes you great anxiety, repair to an open field on Monday. Take some incense into your mouth. Turn your face towards the east and west and repeat the 94th Psalm and then the 92nd Psalm 7 times, keeping in mind at the same time the holy name Elkano Tov. Tov is good, okay? Which signifies great and strong and zealous and good God. And pray each time at the ending of these psalms, quote, "May it please you, O great, strong, zealous, and good God, to my humble enemy." And now they're going to mention a person's name. And I have to say that in the Jewish colloquial tradition, you name the child so-and-so, son or daughter of the father. But when you are doing magic, you name the child for the mother. It's so-and-so, son or daughter of the mother. And that's because you always know who the mother is, but you may not know who the father is. And so when you're sending God to do an intervention, perhaps from an angel or something. They got to know the right person, okay? And I talk about that also in the bibliomancy lecture, because knowing this is all about names and sounds, okay? So let me go back. I'll start at the beginning of the spell. Again, the spell or prayer, however you like to call it, incantation. May it please you, O great, strong, zealous, and good God, to humble my enemy, so-and-so, son of so-and-so, as you once did the enemies of our great teacher Moses, who rests in peace and who completed this psalm to your glorification. Let my prayer arise to you as did the sweet smell of incense from the altar of incense, and let me behold your wonderful power. Amen. Selah. All right. So if you have a hard or unyielding and bitter enemy who oppresses you and causes you great anxiety, this is what to do.
So we've got a question here that Ann Smith is asking. She says that her psalm is Psalm 88. Mm-hmm. And she asks, what if your psalms is dark?
I'm not answering that. No. What if your psalms is dark?
Yeah, so what is Psalms 88?
Well, I don't know that it's dark. Let me see.
Yeah.
Okay, it says, well, 88 and 80, so 86 through 88 are grouped together. And it says, these three psalms are left without a holy name. And there is nothing further said about them. Then a person should be accustomed himself to pray them often, because by doing so, much good can be done and evil can be avoided. The frequent praying of Psalm 85 especially is said to promote the welfare of the community and the congregation. So 88 is not dark. It's used to avoid evil.
I see. So someone just said Psalm 88 and their edition of the Bible says a prayer from deep misery. So you would say that it's a prayer to avoid
deep
that.
misery. Yes. Well, yes. Yeah. According to Shemush Tehillim, that is that psalm's magical use. Yeah. A lot of these psalms, they're written by King David with his the harp, the lute, the harp. That's what the psalm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And he played that music for Saul to calm him. Right.
Yes.
It was music soothes the savage beast, because he was affected probably with bipolar disorder or something, but they said, demons and or fits or what they've described.
Can I mention something about Psalms 88 and just put a little plug for AIR? So Jeremy and I and many of the presenters at this year's festival are members of AIR, the Association of Independent Readers and Root Workers. And in fact, the AISC, which is the Association of Independent Spiritual Churches, is the one that puts on the festivals every year. And at the AIR website, which is readersandrootworkers.com, you can click on the link to the Psalms and you will find all of the Psalms.
That's right.
Those Psalms are given traditional meanings there, both according to the Jewish tradition and also according to African American traditions. So if I turn to Psalms 88, it says, Hoodoo psychic readers, spirit workers, and root doctors who recite Psalms on behalf of clients may work with Psalm 88 during altar work and prayers for healing and for the removal of evil. Psalms 88 is often used in conjunction with Psalms 86 or Psalms 87, both of which have similar spiritual characteristics. The psalm is used by root workers to remove evil through the intervention of God Almighty and his blessing. This is often done through either specially prepared baths or the creation of charms and talismans to be worn on the body. And so it seems sad,
Right.
you know, O Lord God of my salvation, I have cried day and night before thee. Let my prayer come before me, incline thine ear unto my cry. And I would say that in Christian terms, this would be a prayer that had been asked before, but not answered. And it's a repeat prayer. That's why it says these go together. And King David, who wrote these prayers, was in stress. He was hiding in caves. He was being sought to, you know, there's a death sentence on his head if he were to be caught. And it was a very difficult time for him. So it's a cry of distress, but it also, we know that he succeeded. He made it through. So
He
this
conquered.
he conquered. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a prayer in the process of what might be called the dark night of the soul, or really, you know, when there's a wanted poster with your name on it. And so he says, mine eye mourneth by reason of affliction. He means he's crying. Lord, I've called daily upon thee. I have stretched out my hands unto thee. But we know that by the end of the Psalms, he comes through. Now, this means that not that you're going to be a sad person crying all your life, but that you have the gift of being able to help others who are in difficulty. And if you, for instance, take upon yourself the role of being a warrior, as David was, this is where things look really rough. Maybe for a friend of yours, they look really rough for a family member. They look really rough for a socio-political or cultural group with which you feel alliance. This is where you have the power to get God's attention the way that King David did. So yes, he's crying out of a dark place, but we know he got over. End of sermon. Amen.
That is right.
Nice.
Wow, thank you for that.
Yeah, very much. Well, what time is it? Are we?
Yeah, do you want to do a few more, or do you want to wrap it up, Jeremy?
Well, I feel I feel a little guilt. I'll put it out there. I feel
We've got lots of people wanting to learn more about their psalms, so why don't we do a few more and we'll call it a night.
All right. How about what? 3 more?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
So let's look at. I'm just gonna scroll up here.
Give me an easy one.
Jonathan Goolsby says Psalms 127.
127. Oh, this is another amuletic psalm. Write this psalm upon pure parchment. Place this amulet in a clean bag. So you're all right. So, what kind of amulet does that remind hoodoo workers of?
Yeah.
All right. So, write this psalm on pure parchment and place this amulet in a clean bag and hang it around the neck of a newborn son immediately after birth, and no evil will ever befall him afterwards. What's that?
It's a mojo.
Mojo.
Yeah,
Great.
it's a baby
Yeah.
mojo.
Baby
Yeah,
mojo.
little baby
Yeah.
mojo.
Toby, a little Toby for the baby.
There
A
you go.
Toby.
For Toby.
Yeah.
A Toby.
So let's do 120 now. Psalms 120.
120. Oh, I just did this one for someone. There's a they were asking me about court cases, and I know someone on this forum that does some really good court work. If you must appear before a judge, repeat the psalm beforehand and you will receive grace and favor. If a traveler should find himself in a forest infested with many poisonous snakes, scorpions, and other poisonous reptiles, as may easily happen, and thus be exposed to danger, let him pray this psalm as soon as he comes in sight of the forest 7 times, and he will be able to proceed on his journey without any harm. So this is awesome. You can say the psalm in front of a judge, and you can say the psalm before going on an adventure or misadventure to keep you from having a misadventure. So I will say that while Shemush Tehillim is a Jewish grimoire, one of the other, canonical books of the Jewish tradition, and I won't get too much in it, is called the Talmud. And in the Talmud, they have a spell against to chase away snakes. Would you like to know what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Run.
Doesn't matter who you are or if it's true. It doesn't matter who you are or if it's true. All you have to do is stand there and say, I am a menstruating woman. And the snake will go away. It says that in the Talmud. That is canonical Jewish thought right there.
That's wonderful.
We just lost Doc Murphy.
I just have to throw something in on top of that because this is funny. I think all of you know that the Roma people, who are known as gypsies, originally came from India and apparently came back with, Alexander the Great and whatever, and they have their own customs, their own religions, but they've also tried to blend in with the Europeans among whom they lived. There was a book written about him, a guy who basically went to live with some of these Roma people in Europe, in Bohemian area, which is now Czechoslovakia, Romania area. And he said that they had this belief that if a woman was menstruating and there was blood on her skirt, and if she ran at you and touched her with her skirt, a man would be immediately rendered impotent. His snake, in other words, would go down. Right? And so this was a thing when the men would drink, and again, this was written in the 30s or 40s, I think, maybe 50s. When the men would drink and the women wanted to break it up, they would raise their skirts and run at the men and say, and the man, of course, didn't know if they were menstruating or not. So the men would have to break up the fight. And he said he witnessed this. There was no wives to break up a fight that was about to start. And an old grandmother came running up, lifting her skirts, and they all laughed at her. And she said, you don't want to try it. And they broke up the fight anyway. The power of menstrual blood.
That's right.
Okay, let's do one last one here, Jeremy, and we'll wrap it up. I don't think we've done this one yet. Let's do 105.
Oh, man, you don't want to end on that high note?
We did 105 already. There's two of us that have 105.
Did we do 105?
We did 105 already.
Then 103. 103.
Oh, okay. Well, we're kind of on the same topic because 102 and 103 are grouped together. Both of these psalms are said to be good for barren women, by the use of which they may receive the grace and favor from God. The holy name of the one called Yah, and taken from Aneni, verse 3, and the name of the other one is Aha, and is taken from the word Adonai, verse 12, and from Salah, verse 20. So 103 and 102, good for infertility. Trouble conceiving.
All right, one more, and then we'll call it a day. Let's do 107.
Okay. Oh, well, 107, that one cures quotidian fever.
Oh, we did that one.
Yeah, we did 105, 6, and 7. It was 3 days fever, 4 days fever, and then daily fever.
Right.
So that was a fever cure.
Seems like some people are still do you want to do a few more, or do you want to maybe do it sometime in the future?
Well, how many more do we have?
We've got 111, 77, 193. So we've got 4, 104. So seems like quite a bit there, Dr.
Oh
Jeremy.
my goodness. I think we should I think here's what I should do. I promise that if you guys, here's what I think we should do. I think you guys should go to the air page, which actually has it there for. So I think Rivka just put it in there in the, and I think Tony I did put it in the chat too. And I won't hold anybody hostage any longer.
Okay, and if they are interested in learning more about this, how could they contact you, Dr. Jeremy?
Oh my gosh, there's going to be plenty of time for that during the festival and blah, 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 blah. I'm always here. You can reach me at Hoodoo Heritage Festival at gmail.com. It's fine. It's all good. That's the way to get it. And if you have trouble on the day of the festival or whatever, before whatever, shoot us an email. We'll try. I mean, we're not standing by at all times, but we'll make it happen.
I think you should start doing these live the way that Richard Webster does Contact Your Angels.
Well, I did bibliomancy live readings 4 or 5 times, and the only reason that I've stopped that is because the festival is taking priority, but I intend to go right back and continue them. I really enjoyed doing the bibliomancy readings.
It's a good service.